Familiar faces again, and it's always good to be here gathering and supporting Deborah and HCI. It's really amazing. We'd like to start with an opening prayer from Becca. If you would please come up. Come on, Ben. Ben was going to do the prayer initially, and then
Becca, now I am.
And then-
I feel called to pray.
okay, so okay, Megan is going to do the opening prayer now.
Hi. Yes, absolutely. Hi. All right, if we could just bow our eyes, bow our heads, close our eyes. Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we just thank you for this event tonight. We thank you for each person in this room who has given their love, their time, and energy to this organization. We thank you for our hosts, for our sponsors, for each beautiful soul who has showed up tonight. I ask God that you just bless every person in here, that you fill their hearts with abundance, their lives with abundance. We ask that you fill us with your Holy Spirit, your love, your light, your peace. We ask that you direct us in our lives, that you continue to guide us. We thank you for everything you've given us in this beautiful night together. We're so grateful. We thank you in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Megan. We have tonight an honored guest. Again, she was here a year ago. We have Miss Raleigh from the Miss America organization, Chandra Manivanan. Did I say that? Would you like to step up and say a couple of words, please?
Hi everyone, I'm Chandra Manivanan, and this time last year I was here as Miss Raleigh, and this year I'm Miss Garner 2023, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. My platform as Miss Garner is an online platform called Selena, which I envision to be a platform that provides comprehensive online resources for survivors of intimate partner violence. And ever since I connected with Deborah, she's been so open and welcome to this idea. And I would love to learn from anyone's experiences so that I can grow in this journey and try to provide resources for you all. I've also connected since the past year with Interactive Wake County, and they have a new initiative as well called Are You Safe? And they're trying to get that information out to the community. And I would love to partner with you all on any initiatives that you have as well, and I can post that information on social media. And recently I've been trying to cater the information to youth, young adults, and teens, as well as adults that are in relationships. And I've gotten positive feedback from members of the community where they say, I'm so happy that you're sharing like key information for teenagers. And even though it was sometimes difficult for me to use the keywords or the language that was necessary to get that information out to teenagers, it was very impactful, and I got positive feedback for that. And any ideas that you guys have for resources for the online platform, I would be welcome to learn about them. I currently envision that it would have information for financial services and upskilling yourself if you want to return to the workforce, as well as safety planning material. And through my employer, Accenture, I've also connected with Dress for Success in Raleigh, and they have a Dress for Success Triangle and Charlotte. And they provide free-to-use wardrobe skills as well as resume tips for individuals who would like to return to the workforce. So I just feel really grateful and blessed to be here with you all today, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra. Well, let's get this party started. I give you Deborah.
are y'all doing tonight? Thank you
Great.
so much for coming. I know it's been, a lot of people have been slow getting out to events since COVID, and but we're pretty full here tonight, so I'm really excited that all of you showed up. Thank you so much. We are, Caroline, are you ready over there? I got her with my slide presentation. So our theme this year is He Makes All Things New, and you'll see the butterflies kind of all over the place. And we were kind of having a theme of transformation, going from, a life of being abused or in addiction to being empowered and finding healing through the power of Christ, and to really find a new life. And so that's the whole kind of theme that we're having with this. I want to say thank you to our sponsors. Win Jam sponsored a table. Thank you, as always. And we also had Believe Builders. They couldn't be here tonight, but they sponsored. And they're at that table. And then we had Linda Craft and team. They not only sponsored a table, but they donated the cruise. So whoever's trying to get that, they donated the cruise for us. And then we had Carroll Pharmacy also sponsored a table. So thank you all for those sponsorships. And every year, the David Vick family sponsors our venue here. So they pay for the venue for us to have this event so that we can make some more money. And then we had another donor also that stepped up tonight to pay for the catering. So that was an answer to prayer. Thank you very much. I want to give a shout out to the board of directors, Greg Chartier, there he is, and Evadne, she's on our board. Diane is our secretary, she's over there. And where are you, Margie? Oh, Margie's over there. Now, she's the one you'll pay at the end of it for the silent auction. She's our treasurer. So I could not do what I do without them. They make life easy for me. We have very short board meetings, which is kind of unheard of, I think, but we get to the point, get stuff done, and focus on what's important. We also have an advisory board, which a lot of the people from Windjam are on there, and Nell, and she's our accountant. And now I have to say this, I could not do anything without her. I seriously could not. She runs our books, our payroll, our taxes, everything that we have to do financially. She, that is not my cup of tea. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Yes. And then Jeff Barnhill is our webmaster, and he volunteers to do this, and he updates the website. I'll send him an email, and within 5 minutes, he has it up. It's just unbelievable. So if you're out there, Jeff, watching this, thank you very much. And then we have some other advisory board members. Before COVID, we were meeting once or twice a year to get input, from the business side of things as an advisory board. So hopefully we'll start that up again here soon. Our mission statement is that we are a multifaceted recovery program that connects with other organizations. So we love connecting with, like Miss Garner for the Selena app, Bishi, Shanquella, right? Okay. She just started a domestic violence program in Holly Springs, and so we're trying to connect with her. So we try to make as many connections as possible to get the best results for whoever we're helping. We're not in competition. We refer people to Interact. They're wonderful, but they're full a lot of the time, and it's sad because, we just need more resources. We always need more. So what's different about Hope Connection, probably that sets us apart from other nonprofits, is that we do tailored solutions. Most nonprofits, they'll help people for a short period of time or once or twice, and then that's kind of it. We're there with them like a family through the long term. And you'll hear a story tonight, right, Sharon? You're going to hear a couple stories tonight, but that one especially, we helped her 7 years ago, and just to see where she's come since then, it's just it's exciting to me to see kind of the growth and what's happened, and then so you'll hear a couple of the stories tonight. We have partners. Some of our partners, we have the AIDS Alliance, where they can anyone We have sex traffic victims, people coming out of addiction, abuse victims, whoever needs it. If they want to get any kind of free testing for STDs discreetly, then they can do that for free with this partnership. A lot of people in addiction end up with Hep C, so this is somewhere they can go privately, discreetly, and get that taken care of. So we partner with them. We do partner with Dress for Success as well. Also, Carrie Arend, where'd you go? Okay, there she is. She has a table over here, and we refer some of our clients to her for one-on-one mentorship for careers. And she has her books for sale, but she's written a book. She's in Barnes & Noble, so she's very well known. And so we make partnerships like that to help with career growth. Mending the Soul is our biggest partnership probably for curriculum for abuse recovery. And so we use their curriculum. The Princess Lost, Princess Found program is our one-on-one sex trafficking mentorship program that they also provide the curriculum for. And then we have Caring for the Vulnerable Child for children who are victims of violence or sexual abuse. So we have all of those partnerships going. One of our biggest partners is Green Chair. Yay, Caroline, you are doing a great job. So Green Chair, we partner with them. We do have a thrift store, but if we gave all our furniture away to all of the people in need, we wouldn't make any money for our thrift store to help pay their bills. So we partner with Green Chair, and we can pay a fee of like $200 to $300, and they furnish their entire apartment. And they get them started with towels and bedding, and they do free beds for the kids, and then furniture for their house. And we'll hear a story about that in just a minute. So that's one of our big partnerships. We have one family that we just helped, and Veronica, would you like to come up? And she's going to give her story because we just helped them with furnishing their house. So you hear a little bit about that. Yay. So she's in our Teen Girls Mending the Soul group, and this is Veronica.
Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good time here. So my name is Veronica, I'm 15 years old and I go to the Mending the Soul group. In this group I learned from Miss Desiree and Miss Deborah as my mentors. I learned how to face my pain and in order to acknowledge the people in my life who were abusive and how to recognize these types of people in the future. Growing up, I always thought that abuse was just being abusive only meant someone who hits their child or significant other or friend every day. The image of someone with bruises and cuts on their face or body is what came to my head. I've learned that although unfortunately abuse may look like this sometimes, there's many other forms of abuse like verbal, sexual, emotional, and physical. Even abandonment can be a form of abuse. Sometimes doing nothing and not being there does a lot. I was born in San Diego, California, and lived in San Diego until I was about 8. My mother and father were both drug addicts, and whenever my father also went to jail for abusing women, he got deported back to Mexico before I turned 2 years old. I remember moving a lot from apartment to apartment, trailer to trailer. Although it was my mother that my sister, Emilia, and I live with, I would like to say that my Aunt Daniela and my grandmother took care of me the most. I remember my mother was struggling with drugs, so then we were taken into the care of my Aunt Daniela. And it wasn't even a while that we went to foster care because she had to meet the requirements of us to live with her. And I hated it because when I was in foster care, I was at a very young age, and they kind of got upset with me because I, experienced some trauma, and I kind of in my pants when I was little. But I was like, 5 years old. I was very little, and they made me take pills for it. then I believe I was under the care for less than a year when I was with Daniela. And then I had to move again because something about my mom being found overdosed in a hotel. That meant my sister and I had to move with my aunt Maribel and her fiance Cleavon in San Francisco. And in less than a week, my grandmother, my sister, and myself had been living in a San Francisco apartment, 2-bedroom, and by this time I was 8 years old and my sister Amelia was 6. Then not even 3 months had passed and we had to move again. Except this time it wasn't even in California, and we had to move all the way to New York because Cleavon had to complete his medical residency, and wherever he went, we followed. I got to see my parental grandmother and cousins before I left, but had I known that would have been the last time I see them in 7 years, I would have cherished that moment much longer. Moving to New York was a struggle. My sister went into 1st grade and I went into 4th. We lived in Washington Heights, and don't get me wrong, I love New York, and I think it's a beautiful place, and I think it's amazing that there's a store at, every corner. It was just the schools that was kind of an issue for me. I was, body shamed by everyone, even just in the 4th grade, and, since the part of New York that I was in was a very heavily Hispanic culture, I was told I wasn't Hispanic enough for people. I was 9 years old and already worried about my body image. I told Maribel and Cleavon, and what was I told? Oh, ignore them. Ignore them, and that's what I did. All through 4th and 7th grade, I tried to ignore them. Everyone who mentally abused me in school and, caused me to sometimes think suicidal thoughts. This didn't work. It never worked. I was bullied by the same 3 girls in 4th and 5th grade, and I thought it would stop when I got to middle school. The point was that I was bullied. I was bullied with words so harsh I could not repeat them. It didn't help to have unsupportive legal guardians. They thought that by buying me everything, I was supposed to be happy. My feelings only mattered when it was convenient to them. My sister and I are still in the process of being removed from their custody after making a CPS report and being temporarily placed under the care of my aunt Daniela. Whenever they abused my sister the night before the CPS report, they tried to excuse it by saying, "This isn't anything, when I grew up, I was abused worse. You should be lucky that this is the only thing we've done." We have received so much support from Hope Connections, though, and since we basically got kicked out of the house, we moved into our new apartment, and as Deborah mentioned, she helped us get connected with Green Chair, and we received some pretty nice furniture and a bigger bed, because I used to sleep in a twin bed and I almost rolled off of it. So thank you, Green Chair, for supporting all that furniture for me. And I've, been going to the youth group, Mending the Soul, every Monday since the beginning of March. I'm learning to cope with my trauma from abuse. Miss Deborah and Miss Desiree let us know that we're not alone. I still need to find therapy, and sometimes I still struggle. But going to this youth group is a large step forward. And a large step forward to acknowledging the effects abuse has had on me and to help me break the cycle. To start young and know what abuse is and how to stop it, to receive help, to know that Hope Connections is there for me. I wanted to change and I want to change. I want to be helped, and I want to apply everything I'm learning to survive this world and to help prevent my own future children from suffering abusive relationships. So thank you, Hope Connection, for giving me a chance to grow from the pain and supporting my grandmother, my sister, my Aunt Daniela, and myself through rough times. I feel validated and encouraged to be myself, and soon I will be able to become confident in myself and trust the right people like Desiree and Miss Deborah, and every new person here at Hope Connections that genuinely wants to help. So thank you all for being supportive.
Wow, if that didn't touch your heart. And Desiree, what's so cool about this is Desiree was in our program and took the Many of the Soul class a few times. A few times. And now she's helping us lead it, so that's really cool. So that's one of the families that we've helped with Green Chair. We've also helped others. At this time, I'd like to recognize Mary Affey. She is the president of the Association for Play Therapy, and she also won an award this year as National Social Worker of the Year. And then the next slide shows celebrating 40 years for Association of Play Therapy. So I'm gonna let her talk a little bit about the awareness of child abuse. Sadly, we've really seen an increase in child abuse since COVID, and you know, even like these girls have said, the domestic violence and the child abuse and sexual abuse has really skyrocketed, as has addiction. So she'll tell you a little bit about that, and then I'll come back.
Hi, thank you. I have notes because I tend to be a squirrel. Where do I begin? I just want to say, Desiree, your story hits home, and this is the first time I'm going to acknowledge this out loud in public. It's raw. I came from a very abusive home, carried shame for years, but the shame was the catalyst that made me who I am today. And when you deny who you are, whatever you suppress will express, and it has been expressed. And I'm very proud of all the, I don't know that I want to say I'm proud of the trauma, but I'm proud of the experiences and the resiliency that has brought me to where I am today. I grew up in a very domestic, violent home. I lived in 2 shelters as a child. I don't even think I've told Deborah that. But I feel it's in my heart, and I want to honor and acknowledge that it's God that has made, I don't think there's enough God in our world, but it is, I just want to thank God for everything I have in my life and the people that support me and believe in me. I'd have nothing if it wasn't for the people in my life that actually believe in me. I often view myself as a squirrel tornado, broken and sad. And many of you find me as a big leader, and I appreciate that. So growth comes out of your comfort zone. My comfort zone is not in a dress and high heels, so I'm growing tonight. I love to be in sneakers and jeans. For many of you that know me, like, I love to be in my jeans, they're comfort. And there's part of that I finally recognized this year, is because I was also a victim of sexual assault, and I know that jeans are tight and they make me feel safe and less vulnerable. So today I'm in a dress and it makes me way out of my comfort zone. With that, remember, your mess is your message, and I finally recognized that this year. When you learn to love the many parts of you, life starts to open up. We serve a very amazing God, and He will bring and give you what you ask for, but you have to appreciate it with gratitude. And Deborah, your organization is amazing. I thought I was a busy squirrel. Oh my God, I don't know who's busy, or me or you, but I am so thankful to be here. I'm an everyday average person, and don't feel like I sometimes deserve all those amazing awards. The other thing I want to say is, I'm going to be honest and transparent. This is my granddaughter, and my daughter is struggling with substance abuse. So this hits home for me because I never believed in the DNA of generational substance abuse, and my daughter never knew her father, and he was a substance abuser and took his life by suicide. So and she's struggling now. So if that doesn't tell you the prevalence and how the impact, it's pretty powerful. So every day I struggle with a lot of what everybody else does silently, quietly. I cry, and I wonder when is the day I'm going to get that phone call. So I appreciate everything you do. So today I'm just going to make it real. That's me. I won that award in October because I believe passionately that children need to be honored. They're their own little culture, and they need to be loved with integrity in our mental health. That unfortunately, and I say this in our industry, that most graduate schools do not teach how to work with children. And it's my life's work, and I will go to my grave ensuring that graduate students and anybody else that interface with children know how to approach them with support, love, and integrity, and actually know how to work with them. When you come out of graduate school, you learn adult models. Even our medical society still treats, or they, to this day, they treat children with adult medication. There's no distinction between the two. So we just want to honor children as their own little culture. I don't know if you have another slide. One thing I want to say before I go into the slides, Horizon, my company, was founded 6 years ago. And today, I'm going to spend, well, I'm going to say today, the rest of my life, like I said earlier, ensuring that children get the right mental health services. It's a it's a billion-dollar industry, mental health today. And people are experimenting with children. Oh, I know how to work with adults. I could just take their model and, tweak it for children. Well, that's so ethical. And children are a very fragile population. So I will ensure that children receive the right mental health, whether it's making sure that it's culturally and developmentally appropriate and chronologically appropriate. The other thing I'm extremely passionate about is ensuring the treatment procedurally with sexual abuse. And the one thing I want to say with substance abuse, and maybe somebody needs to hear this tonight, probably, and I don't have the stats on this, but probably 90% of substance abusers are silent victims of sexual abuse. And I'll also say this, there's not enough research that the children that have been sexually abused, it's very, very, very rare they ever share that. That is a deep, dark secret they carry with them forever. There's probably slides to help me support this. But they live with that and they never share it. Can you hear me? Oh, I got slides here. I told you I was a squirrel tornado. Well, then I need to pull out my glasses. So the shame that comes with sexual abuse, it's very rare. And I'm actually in two pretty severe, one is a criminal case right now and one is a civil case with sexual abuse. Children still don't have voices with sexual abuse. And I will say this, sexual abuse isn't stranger danger. So if that's what you think, it's not. I hear Desiree, oh my God, your story just hit me so hard. And go New York. I'm an Italian-American family, Sicilian-American, and living in shelters was so humiliating. I hated thrift stores. It was a struggle to come into a thrift store. We had to shop in a thrift store, and I hated the smell of it. And as a trauma-informed clinician, I don't know how much time I have, I could shut up. As a trauma-informed clinician, I teach students and I teach people about sensory, and the biggest sensory is kind of our eyes, what we smell, and I could never go into a thrift store. So the fact that I can walk into your thrift store, honor it, and it's just so special because it's a bigger, deeper meaning. And I don't know where I was going with that. Sexual abuse, is always, always somebody knows. It's always somebody they know. And the idea of sexual abuse that it's an adult on child, that's not the case anymore. It's child on child. So we need to be mindful of that. It's 1 in 3 boys and 1 in 4 girls, and that's of what we know. I could flip the slide. So there's something about domestic violence. Sometimes people think this, attorneys think this, agencies, government agencies think this, and a lot of people think this. Well, if you remove the child outside of the domestic violence, it ends, it goes away. I can tell you that's not the case. I'm a neuroscience junkie, meaning that when there is in utero trauma, that child is not protected. You are going to surge the body with hormones in chronic stress. So that baby is going to be actually marinated in chronic stress hormones, and they're going to come out hyper vigilant, which is pretty fascinating, and most people don't know that. And then you put them in a violent situation. Well, what do you think that does to the body and the brain? So they don't even know how to regulate. I kind of covered that for the most part. I mean, think about people that don't have voice, they're nonverbal. The amount of abuse that happens there is just substantial.
Just go back, just stay there. That's okay. She's going way ahead of her mind.
Am I done?
Yeah.
I'm done.
Just
Oh, the other thing I want to say, sorry, Deb. We offer, there's 2 things I actually want to say. See, I have notes. I'm probably exhausted in my time. My company, our company, is going to actually start to educate attorneys in North Carolina on actually how to speak to children, whether it's neurodivergent, nonverbal, children struggling with disabilities. I was at an event in Raleigh, which was just amazing that they're acknowledging that we can have attorneys just for children, but to listen to their trepidation of like, how do you even talk to children was fascinating. So look for a gap, no matter who you are. If there's a gap somewhere, that could be an opportunity to really open an opportunity to take your mess and make it a message, right? So yeah, and we might be one of the biggest forensic evaluators now in sexual abuse because there's just a gap here too. So thank you for all you do, and I'm done.
Thank you, Mary. So she has Horizon Integrated Wellness Center, and any children that suffer trauma, we refer to her because she is by far the best with children and their needs, and she's helped us tremendously be able, we offer support system, but we don't do the counseling and the intense therapy that they need, so we refer them to her, and she works with them, and if any mandatory reporting needs to be done, we refer them to her as well. So as she was saying, a couple of the slides, I just want to go back and hit a couple of the statistics. It used to be 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 4 boys or something like that, and now it's like 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 4 boys. Like she said, that's just the ones that are reported. There's so many that are unreported, and it's just so sad to see. One of the scariest statistics that I saw on one of those slides about domestic violence was that 80% of domestic violence victims will not leave the situation. And that, to me, I can't tell you how many phone calls I get, and they go back, and we just try to keep being there for them because, you know, that's the women who end up not with us anymore because they haven't left the situation. So we want to be there as a support system so that when they're ready, we have to wait till they're ready, but, and some people think, oh, well, he's not hitting me, he's not doing this. I've watched people verbally and mentally and emotionally abused, and they become a shell of a person. So it's not just physical abuse. Sometimes it's narcissistic, very controlling behavior, that just takes away your person. It takes away your identity. It takes away your freedom as to be who you are and to express yourself. In my own personal life, I was married to a pastor who was very abusive, and I wasn't allowed to have money or open the mail or even open the refrigerator. And, the last couple of years we were together, I didn't have a life. It was like surviving from day to day. And I probably couldn't even, very few groups do I talk about, all the things that happened, because some of it was just so awful. So from that experience, I really wanted to provide something where people can have resources for free, or at least we can connect them to the right resources, so that they can get the help they need. One of the slides said that boys who see abuse in the home are twice as likely to become abusers, and girls are twice as likely to become victims. Now, this can be maybe turned around too. It's not always boys, being the abusers, because we have a lot more women being abusers nowadays as well. But when you stay in a marriage and say, oh, I'm staying for the kids, that is a myth. It's a lie, okay? Because what you're doing is you're teaching your children that behavior is okay. So you have to remove them from it, and you have to save their lives so that they won't continue that cycle. So that's why we try to really work with Mary and what they do with the children, because we're trying to keep them from continuing that cycle. Something that's very interesting to me, if you can go back to that 30% plus 25% slide, I didn't realize that in North Carolina, there's not a crime of domestic violence. It's actually, there's no crime. They will do assault on a female, or they'll do, strangulation, or they'll do something like that. But there's no actual crime of domestic violence, which I think needs to be changed. Because, that's the first thing. So what she's doing with some of the legal aspects is really important, because we need to educate our court systems. I can't tell you how many courtrooms I've sat with children who've been abused, women who've been abused, and the court system looks at it all one way as a normal family. You have to separate the domestic violence family court cases from the regular family court cases, because they are not the same. You cannot treat them the same, and when you try to treat them the same, you're forcing that child into a relationship that is so damaging to them. And I've just seen effects of it. I have one girl, and I can't say her name, but when she turns 18, we're going to start a vision that she has, because she was in court and wasn't even allowed in the courtroom at 13 years old. She was not allowed to say the abuse that was happening to her from her father. The judge would not even see her in chambers. She had recorded 13 hours of abuse on her laptop secretly that she wanted the judge to listen to. He would not allow it, and told her attorney he would find her in contempt of court if she tried to submit it for evidence. This is what we're dealing with. And that little girl had to just keep going and seeing this abusive father on his time. And when you watch that, you feel helpless. So all you can do is be there for them and give them hope that someday they're going to have a way out. And a lot of these kids, when they grow up, do come back, and I see them later on. But that's what we're all about, and that's what we're trying to do. The effects of abuse, are we to that one now? There are a lot of effects of abuse. Most of the people that we deal with in the groups will have either chronic pain, autoimmune issues. Sometimes they turn to addiction. Some people say, why are you doing abuse and addiction? They are so intertwined. because like Mary said, something that really struck me when my son was at a 2-year rehab was the guys that he would bring home on home visits. When I started talking to them about their addiction, like she said, like 90% of them had sexual abuse in their childhood they had never told anyone about. And so I think there's a much stronger correlation with that than we're even realizing. And like she said, there needs to be more research done. But that's why we do both, because there's such a connection there. But there's a lot of health issues. So we partner with a couple of natural health doctors. Ideal Health Centers. Dr. Greg Carter is up in Raleigh, and he does a lot of nutrition, and he is a chiropractor, but he does also some natural health things. And then RPM is neuromuscular therapy, and we have a gift certificate back there that I think people were fighting over. But these are things that can really help the people that we deal with overcome what they've been through. The other part of what we deal with, I didn't skip the support groups yet, okay. The drug overdoses have really increased. I know they have that new drug out now, Trank or something. They're mixing fentanyl with tranquilizers and some crazy stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that kids are constantly being exposed to more and more. But drug overdoses are now the leading cause of death in Americans under 50. And I think that's sad. We're losing our young people, especially our young men. There are different ways to deal with somebody in addiction. And we had a Loved Ones of Addicts group. I'm probably going to be taking it over in the fall, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But in that group, we teach about emotionally detaching from the addict. Now, that doesn't mean not showing love. It means you're drawing really strong boundaries while you're showing love. But we teach how to communicate with them so that they still feel loved, but they know they can't manipulate you and they know they can't take advantage of you. This is a group that if you have someone in addiction that you love, you really need to go to because you need support. It is too hard to try to deal with that on your own. So we have support groups. So our next slide, free support groups. Mending the Soul is our biggest one. And we have a Spanish curriculum, but we need a Spanish facilitator, right? Daniela's mom speaks only Spanish, so we gave her a Spanish book and we tried to interpret, but we really need a Spanish person that can be trained to lead the group. That would be very helpful with us right now. And then the next slide shows some of our other curriculum and what we do. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Renee. Renee, she'll tell you her story, but she is now leading one of our groups. She's led a couple of our different groups, and she'll tell you about that.
Thank you, Deborah. The first time Hope Connection helped me was in 2014. I met Deborah by chance because I happened to be set up as a vendor next to her at a neighborhood event. As fate would have it, I was actually looking for a grief support group at that time to help me through the recent passing of my dad. Grief support is just one of the many ways that Hope Connection helps people, and I was grateful to have found it. I eventually healed my grief enough and went on to lead the grief support group to help others through their losses. 5 years later, I found myself at the start of what the courts called a high conflict divorce. High conflict is a blanket statement, and it shows how apathetic our legal system can be to matters of domestic abuse. Hope Connection didn't hesitate to step in and become an integral part of the support system that I needed in order to get through it all. Sorry, I'm really nervous. I had a rough start in life. Born to an emotionally immature and unavailable, gambling-addicted mother, I was beaten, starved, and emotionally, verbally, mentally, and financially abused constantly. Our electricity frequently got cut off. My clothes were too small and never laundered. We rarely had food in the house. Rather than provide basic necessities, my mom gambled all the money that came her way, including the child support payments from my dad. We got evicted from every apartment we lived in because she wouldn't pay the rent. I was always the new girl in school and prey for bullies. I never defended myself because I didn't know it was an option, and I never told my mom because she was doing the same thing at home, hurting me and telling me how worthless I was. I thought it was normal and that I deserved it. My dad eventually got custody of me after several years and literally saved my life, but my mom's mistreatment of me never stopped, no matter how old I got. When I became an adult, I thought the past was the past. I was grown, so my childhood didn't matter anymore. What I came to realize during my recent divorce is that the past is never the past where child abuse and neglect are concerned. Those formative years where we learn what love is follow us into adulthood. My earliest introduction to love was that it was painful. I was an inherently bad person who didn't deserve love, and I had to try to earn it. I learned that I had to please others and be what they wanted me to be because I wasn't lovable just being myself. Those early internal messages set the stage for my future romantic relationships, and I ended up in one unhealthy relationship after another. They ranged from simply disagreeable to full-blown abusive. Though I didn't realize it, I thought they were love. The cycle of abuse is real, and it often starts in childhood. I have used the last few years to go back, examine my childhood experiences, and understand how they caused me to continue to endure mistreatment from others, even this far into adulthood. When a child who is still a child in age shows up with bruises, it's easy to acknowledge abuse. But what about the adult children like me whose bruises are on the inside, but every bit as real as they were the days that they were inflicted, be it physically or emotionally? I've come a long way on my personal healing journey, and I'm passionate about helping others to do the same. I now lead Hope Connections Adult Survivors of Child Abuse and Neglect Group, where I hope to assist others in finding the support, validation, and strength that they need in order to heal themselves from their pasts and break the cycle of abuse for good. So thank you, Deborah, and Hope Connection for this opportunity. Thank you to all of you who support this exceptional cause. You may never meet in person those like me whose lives you impact by being here tonight, but we will never forget you or your generosity. So thank you.
She's taller than me. So we do have our free support groups and classes, and what's so cool now is about half of our facilitators are former clients, so I think that is so cool. How Hope Connection is helping the community. So we do a number of things. Like I said, we do tailored solutions. So instead of just saying we help with just rent, sometimes we help with rent. We've helped domestic violence victims get new tires when the ex slashed them. We've helped repair cars so they can get to work. We help with daycare expenses. We help them get a washer and dryer. Whatever it is that they need to succeed, that's what we try to help with. So we have a Facebook page that's a sponsored victims page, and we post needs on there, especially when they're urgent. This week, we have actually 3 rental assistance needs that are pretty, one is really important because they owe March and April, like today, tomorrow. So we're trying to raise about, let's see, 820, what is that, 1640? We're trying to raise about $1,640 for that person, and they start a new job next week. So, you know, just to try to get them over that hump. And then we have another one that needs like $300 or $400 just assistance until they get their next paycheck, and then they'll be good to go. But we refer them to counseling. You know, we assist with daycare. We have a pantry. We actually have 2 pantries now because of the generosity of Mount Zion Church, which we'll tell you in just a minute. We do have one of our ladies in the slide that says transformation. She was in our group, and she wanted to record a video, and she tried and she couldn't. So she asked me to read this, okay? And she moved to Texas, but she just wanted to say how much the Mending the Soul group meant to her. And her name is Evelyn. When I left my husband back in 2017, after 13 years, 43 years, sorry, my eyes are going, of physical, mental, and emotional abuse, I wasn't aware of the extent of the damage took on me and my life. I was consumed with fear and unsure what to do and where to go. All I needed at that point was a divorce, and that would be it. But that didn't end it. I was still going through the anxiety and depression. And then through God's intervention, I came across Mending the Soul. That was when I took the support group for the second time. I began to understand the ramifications of abuse and the various types of abuse and abusers. My mind was blown away because it described my life and how I ended up with an abuser, the symptoms of abuse, how it wasn't my fault, and mostly God didn't intend for me to have this life. I was finally able to understand my anger issues, anxiety, shame, depression, and others. I learned how PTSD from all of this. It explained for me my temperament, my mood swings, instability, and more. Learning all of this was a relief to me. I felt that on the path to recovery, that I was on the path to recovery, and that was a sign of relief. I have to say I didn't do it alone. I had an amazing group of women that I owe a huge thanks to, and she wanted me to thank you guys. Evadne, Cheryl, Debbie, Michelle, Jackie, Pauline, and Angie for their support and encouragement. I never would have had the opportunity to heal if it hadn't been for these women in my life. I cherish that time with them. So she wanted me to tell you guys thank you and that it has changed her life. So basically that's her story. But anyway, she just wanted us to share that with you, and she couldn't be here because she moved away. So our program results, we've had over 150 sponsored survivors that we've given financial assistance to. There's probably more than that, but that's how many I've come up with so far out of memory, because at the beginning we didn't keep really good records, my bad. And so now I'm trying to go back and fill all that in. Over 1,000 clients in total have attended our free support groups in the last few years, and over 80% of clients that we have assisted are financially independent at this time. So I think that, that speaks for itself, and we're doing a pretty good job. So empowering survivors, I just told you about the needs that we have. One of the needs, Sharon, and at this point, just want to make sure her face cannot be on camera, so the video is going to go to a slide, and so she can't have any pictures, but she's going to tell you her story, and how we met, and then what she's trying to do for her son right now. So I'm going to let her speak.
Hello, everyone. There's so much of every one of you guys who stood up here that I can relate to. I remember being in distress, running from my abuser, nowhere to go, with the U-Haul and my twin boys. I'm so emotional.
Take your time, baby. It's okay.
We ended up in front of Hope Connection's front door. Deborah Barker greeted the three of us with open arms, and she took care of us. She helped us move into an apartment, gave me gift cards for food and gas. I got a job, and I used the gas cards to get back and forth to work during my first 2 weeks until I got paid. She helped put food in my house, such a blessing, and she never stopped caring for us, always checking in. We attended her Mending the Soul group. Over the years, it was still tough, as a lot comes from backlash of the abuse, PTSD, and so many other things. My credit was horrible, and so just in recent years, I became obsessed with learning the consumer laws and clean my credit, which was damaged from having to abandon everything. I came from a home into running around in a U-Haul with 2 kids. However, I'm very proud of my score today. I can now say I can remove anything that's negative that shouldn't be on there, which led to me opening my own credit repair company to help other women just like me. So enough about me. Thank you. I have 2 twin sons. My son Martin is going to college, ECU. He wants to be an anesthesiologist. My other son, Malcolm, is not college bound. He's a geek, and they think differently from college people. So he has no desire to attend, but wants to use his gift, which are many. He's ambidextrous, so a lot comes with that. And he was born with 6th grade hair, so he's extra special. Mainly, he's a computer geek. He builds computers. He does a lot for his family and friends that are our extended family over there that we call our friends. Those are that's what he does. He built his computer comparable to the ones in Best Buy. I went over there and actually did an inventory myself. It was like over 2,200 grand. I couldn't believe he did this. It was 2,000, I'm sorry. Once he has access to the parts, which he learned how to gather wholesale, it only takes him about 30 to 40 minutes to put everything together. I know that's amazing, right? He's 17. He's been doing this since 4th grade. He's a great, ambitious kid, and I truly mean that. He is self-taught on knowing how to code as well. He knows all the languages. He's now learning Lulu, which I hear is similar to Python, but don't quote me on that. He once took a dental floss and other pieces of stuff, just lying around the house, and built one of the fastest remote controllers I've ever seen. Even better, even faster than a computer. He did this with code and called me into the room to test it out. He had me hold up the floss attached to, I don't know what that gadget was. It was very small, and it was going so fast. It looked like triple 3D or something. I was so amazed. I couldn't believe this was happening. YouTube also gave him a platform where he makes videos for entertainment, and it's just for kids only. He will not go anything beyond that. They pay him to post videos. He likes to keep the innocence in kids as much as possible. It's a really clean platform with followers alike, and I appreciate that very much. I am trying to help my son start up his own company for building computers since he doesn't want to attend college. This is his passion, so he will be highly successful at it. So if any of you would like to invest in this gifted, brilliant, ambidextrous kid, also born with 6th grade hairs, somewhere in all of that hair he has, we would greatly appreciate whatever you can contribute. You can see me at the table over there tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I couldn't believe when we talked that it had been 7 years and how her kids had grown up so much from when we first helped them. You know, and that's what we want to see, is the children from these abusive situations succeed, you know, so that they don't fall into the same trap. Something else we do for victims is the angel tree. We do this every Christmas, so if you like to just, you know, come by the thrift store sometime right around Black Friday. We usually have the tree up with tags on it, and we have numbers and letters of tagged items you can get and bring back to the store, you know, and bless them that way. The next slide, I just want to spend 1 minute here in loving memory. We've lost 2 people in our organization in the last month. One is Mary Firstler, and she led our Loved Ones of Addicts group, sorry. And she just had a real heart and passion for people who had children in addiction. She lost her son to addiction, and she wanted to dedicate her life to helping families who still had children in addiction. And she had a lot of health issues, and she struggled through those, but she still kept coming and leading that. And she was like 26 years sober herself, so she knew all about that. So we just want to honor her memory. Also, we want to remember Timothy LeClaire. He was in our recovery program, and he passed away this last month, and he had come by our thrift store and helped out quite a bit. And this situation, I will just say, if you're in a toxic relationship, it doesn't have to be a man who's the abuser. Sometimes it can be a woman. And, you know, it can go either way. And if you're in that kind of situation, it can really be damaging to you. So we just want to remember Timothy. We have an action alert. Ben, are you ready for this? No? Is that a no? Is it? I thought he would be better to speak to this than me because this is about UNC Wakebrook, and he knows a little bit about that.
Terrible timing. Could have given a few more minutes. That was my buddy there, Tim. He'll be missed for sure. Yeah, one of the things, there's a great detox facility called Wakebrook, and since UNC Healthcare started staffing and really running that facility, it's honestly such a great place to get help that just a little worried. Anyway, so on Monday, April 3rd, this upcoming Monday, the Wake County Justice Center, if you go to room 2800, they're having a meeting, and you can kind of speak to say a few words if this is something you're passionate about to try to, they're trying to remove UNC from kind of staffing that place, and it's just going to change things a lot. Things are going to decline in that place quite significantly, so they're basically trying to shut it down. So anyways, I'm going to be there, obviously, to speak about that, and it'd be great if any of you, even one of you, has a passion to want to come speak there too. It will help. The people will listen to the people that have been through. I was a regular attendee at that detox facility, unfortunately, many years ago, so I love the place, and it's certainly helped me a lot, so I just wanted to speak on that for a minute. And thank you guys for letting me speak.
So UNC had a 10-year contract with Wakebrook, and right now it is probably the premium, the model that everyone should follow for mental health and addiction. They're open 24 hours, which no other place is. When we need to refer someone to immediate detox, they're there. If we need assessment, they're there. And I can't tell you the great care that they get when they go there, and it gives, they can go there for like a week, and it gives us time to help them get into an Oxford house or get into some kind of other sober living housing in the meantime. So what they're trying to do, Wake County is trying to save money, and this is our taxpayer money, by the way, so I think we should have a voice. But they want to save money in mental health issues, and I think this is not the place to do it. They want to cut UNC out and not keep paying them this much, and then they want to cut the services, and I just think it would be a huge mistake. We're already having a high increase in overdose problems, and just from experience, when we send people to the emergency room, as soon as they stabilize them, they're out the door, and then they go right back because they haven't had enough time to stabilize. Mm-hmm.
Deborah, is the news aware of this? I could get NASW involved and also ABC11 if that's.
Yeah, there's a Facebook page that is Save UNC Wakebrook. So if you look that up, they just found out about this last week, and yeah. So I know Ben and I are going Monday, and we're going to try to speak and try to save them to keep the care that they now have, because this is one of our best resources for our addiction people. So that's just something, if that's something you feel called to do, that we can do. Real quick, because we're running a little bit late. Deja Vu, if you want to volunteer, just email us or come by and we'll get you plugged in. Esther, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Yeah, she is the queen of our processing area, and she's always like helping us out. And then Ben and James, raise your hands. Okay, those two guys, we would not have any furniture in our store if it was not for them. So they haul the furniture. So thank you guys. I'm always asking them, can you move this? Can you move that? And they're probably like, eye roll. But if you have furniture you want to donate, you can also see Diane at the table with that orange jar on the thing over there that says Deja Vu. And just email me and we can schedule a pickup. We also have two partners. We have Resupply and we have Old Time Junk Hauling that can pick up more quickly, but for a smaller fee, so if you need it picked up sooner. Then we have an art studio, Diana Medlin. She's back there, and this is her artwork. Let me just say this about Diana. She has the best art studio back there. If you want to have a party, if you want to have friends, please use her. She's very reasonable. It's fun. It's a great little atmosphere back there, and it supports her. And she really needs your support. She rescued her parents from the Ukraine. She went all the way over there and flew them back over here. And her mom has dementia, and her dad's partially disabled. So she's trying to care for them, plus having issues with her adult children. So, you know, she has a lot on her plate. So she could use all the support that she can get right now. So that's one way you can support her. She's part of our family. Duke games, we have Duke football, Duke basketball. Diane Cook, you're probably like our signature person for this. She's always there at our games helping out. So thank you, Diane. But we have a lot of volunteers and people who step up. But this is a fun way if you just want to have a fun night out, but it helps us. The Duke games pretty much pay for our insurance for the year, which, you know, that's a big thing. The next page, volunteers. I just want to thank all of our volunteers. There's a lot of you. Oh, goodness gracious, I can't start because it's like everyone in here. And Tim, thank you for, he's YouTube streaming this live tonight for us, and that is not my cup of tea, like you said about the geek thing, that I don't speak that language. But anyway, so I appreciate everyone who volunteers. We have people who volunteer in the store, volunteer to lead support groups, volunteer to do our accounting, volunteer for all kinds of things, so thank you. Mount Zion Church, they, on Martin Luther King Day, invited us. I went to speak there, and they gave us so much for our pantries, you would not believe. We had to open up a whole room upstairs to accommodate all the stuff that they gave us. It was just humbling. And we've been able to really help some of our people, because just doing laundry and laundry detergent and, you know, rolls of quarters to do the laundry, you know, if they don't have a washer and dryer, all of that, they really stepped up and helped us with that. So we want to give a shout out to them. The next page, housing is safety. Housing is our biggest need. That is our biggest need. Because every time we're trying to help someone, we're trying to get them in a place they can afford. Well, until they get a career path, or, you know, it takes a while to get yourself to a place where you can make enough money to afford a place, especially nowadays. So trying to find affordable housing is probably our number one challenge. Women in homelessness. This slide really shows you 50% of women who are homeless say it's due to domestic violence. And, you know, like Sharon was saying, you know, she ended up in a U-Haul with her boys. She had nowhere to go. And she ended up in our parking lot at our thrift store. And I remember meeting her out in the parking lot, and, you know, and I'm like, well, what are you trying to do? And then, you know, God just led her there. That's all I can say. You know, so, but this is the kind of thing that we just need to be able to do more of. So we're trying to raise money because we want to purchase the front 4 acres of this property, so that we can move our community care center out there. It has like a fellowship hall. It has a place we can build a thrift store eventually. It has a couple of immediate housing, simple sites that, you know, we could put maybe 4 people to start with. But it would be a really good start. So this is something we're raising money for this year. So if you can give to that. The biggest thing that would help us right now financially is if you can become a recurring donor. And I know you say, well, why does that matter? Our budget, and I'm sure Nell can speak to this, because if somebody just gives maybe once a year, but we don't know if they're going to give again the next year, we can't really count that in our budget. So if you give $10 a month, you may say, oh, well, that's not much. That helps because we can count that in our budget. If you give $20 a month, if you're a state employee and you do that, it will be doubled. They will match it. And we're part of the SECC, and our number is 3939. So you can always like plug that in, and you know, if you give 50, we get 100. So that's a really good way. We have somebody who gives 100 a month, we get 200 a month. You know, so those are really good ways to help out. But recurring donations are really good. On the next slide, it talks about small acts or big impact. So it doesn't matter if it's only $10 a month. If that's all you can do, that is great, believe me. That helps because you're helping somebody do laundry, you're helping somebody get a gas card, you know, because gas has gone up a lot. We're using a new program called Zeffy because we were losing a lot of money on fees. So Zeffy is 100% free for nonprofits. Now, we researched this. They do not give out donor information. They will ask the donor at the time of donation if you want to voluntarily contribute anything to cover fees. So that's how they get their money. But other than that, they don't bother you. They don't, you know, track you down or follow you or anything like that. So we have switched to this platform because that means when you donate the money, we get 100% of it. So we're making the transition over to that, and I think that will also help a little bit as well. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Ben, am I forgetting something? So on your table there, you have pledge cards. And so you don't have to fill out a pledge card. You can just go to our website if you want to. But if you can think about if you can donate $10 a month, $20 a month, $25 a month, anything like that, we would really, really appreciate it. The more we can build our recurring donation base, the more we can do. Because that covers our expenses, and then what we get on top of that, we can save towards the property. So just think about it, and then think about asking maybe one or two friends that you know if they can do the same. If everyone in here did that, and then you ask one or two others, we could probably double our income. And then we could help more people. You don't know how many people I have to say no to in a week. That's probably the hardest thing for me, is people calling and I say, we're full, we don't have any more funding available, you know, and there are people in need. And so I try to refer them other places, but they're full too. And, you know, it's sad that it is such a crisis right now, but, you know, we try to really make sure that your money goes to people who are going to use it wisely as well. So we hold them accountable, and we try to make sure that they're doing what they should do. Yes?
Now, is the new location close to where the same facility is?
It's actually going to be in Clayton.
In Clayton?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because Cary's just too expensive.
Yeah.
So.
And I love this, you guys, and I think I was one of your clients 5 years ago too, and the whole Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Because me and my family was in the same predicament, domestic violence, had a gun to me and the baby girl, about to kill us, and also survived childhood abuse, being the only child. So I'm here, and Bishi's gonna be here helping Hope Connect.
I'm pulling for you. I'm so excited for you. She's starting an organization called Bishi in Holly Springs to help with domestic violence, so we're trying to like partner with her as well. And so that's incredible. So think about this, and you know, think about trying to make a donation. If you're already donating, think about maybe if you can increase it or not. If not, that's fine. If you're donating through PayPal or DonorBox, think about switching to Zeffy. You can always email me because I can tell you the DonorBox login. You can go to cancel your old one and then just sign up. You can go to our website and just click on Zeffy and do the new one. But that gives us 100% of your money instead of losing fees. So anyway, that's just what we're trying to do. Any money you give, we do our annual reports. It's all on the website. You can click. It's public record. You can see where the money goes. And I just want to say I love you all. And everyone in here that I'm looking at, I just, you mean so much to me. And I have so many stories going through my head of all the people in here and how you've served and how you've blessed us. And I just want to say thank you. And y'all have a good night.
It's hard to see the storm blowing over anytime soon. It's hard to hear any hope in the headlines. How to know what's
Thank you, Deborah. You know, it's kind of funny. I've been with Deborah for, gosh, 10 years now. And I keep trying to quit, and she won't let me. But I come here and I hear all the wonderful things that are going on. And, you know, being part of the board, I'm the no guy, and I kind of bring her down a little bit. But I don't always hear everything that she's doing. And it's truly amazing. These stories that we hear when we come here for this, you know, a real impact in people's lives, and that's what matters. You know, so I don't know. I'll probably stick it out for a while longer, Deb. So I have the winners of the silent auction, and we'll go through that. First is Pam Strickland. Pam, where you at? All right. You got the Pine Hollow Golf Course, and you got the Grill Master Basket. Congratulations. Oh, yeah. Go see Margie over there. Margie, wave your hand. She'll take your money. The other golf outing goes to Ben Weston. Yeah, there you go. We had the Gardner basket. I don't understand this name. Somebody's got to help me. It's CC. Who's CC? Hi, CC. You won the Gardner basket. I think there's something else in here. Let me look. Oh, the Mexican gift card, the Mexican food, La Cucina. Excellent. I'm double checking. There might be another one. Nope, that's it. That's it. Congratulations. I'm sorry?
Auction and Uber drive, I would appreciate it.
An Uber drive. Okay, next time we'll do an Uber drive. The Pioneer Woman Basket, Diane Cook. I think there's something else. Let me look. Maybe. Oh, yeah. A basket of books. Excellent, Diane. Oh, wait. And the Cabo vacation. No. Darn. April Fools. Yeah, it is April 1st, isn't it? Okay. The beach basket. Eve Torrey LaRose. Excellent. There you go. I don't know what this is. Exaltation Blue Horse number 4, mixed media. Darcy Tinga. Okay, the caterer. Excellent. Take that money from anywhere. The frame print, the antique car. I love that one. Martin Magaha? I probably said that wrong. All right. Belly dancing lessons. I think I won. I should get that one, right? Becca, you got that one? Are you going to donate them to me? I'll get out there and do it. Okay, a belly dancing party. The 6-strand turquoise and spiny oyster shell bead necklace. Carrie.
Oh, there she is, Carrie.
Carrie, AHRANCL. Oh, there you are. Congratulations, Carrie. The kitchen gadget gift basket, Courtney Madison. Uh-oh, Becca won something else. The wicker basket. Wicker basket. Gift certificate for 60-minute body workout. Man. Megan, can I get that from you? I'll arm wrestle you. Congratulations, Megan. The garden box gift set, Desiree. Desiree, got that one? Yes. Randy's Pizza, $60 gift card. Emily Best. Good job, Emily. Enjoyed you at my table, thank you. Oceanfront Carolina Beach, Megan, you got it. We talked about that. I'm telling you, she was standing back there protecting that, making sure nobody else had put a bid on it. The large handmade quilt, and this was donated by Diane Hoffmeister. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. Lindsay Dunn. Congratulations, Lindsay. That's nice. Very nicely done. Signed etched glass vase, Brad Clance? Clancy? Clark. Okay, it's spelled wrong up here. All right. The Sloth, Reese Edwards. Hey. Are we gonna have to get an Uber for the Sloth to get home? Oh, he drives himself. Okay. Okay. Excellent. All right. Again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. You know, to give up the Final Four to do this, I've been watching a little bit of it over there if you didn't notice, but
I gave up when doing
we really appreciate your support of Hope Connection. And Deborah's wonderful. Again, 10 years, we're looking for the next 10, okay? We're gonna do it again. Thank you again.
All right, so you guys can go pay for your silent auction gifts and get them. And we're gonna play the electric slide if anyone wants to have some fun before you leave.
It's electric.